Well, guys, we're so grateful for everybody tuning in today. This is the Council of Misfits, Episode 3. We're just a group of people that just want to represent multiple perspectives, witty humor, and a sense of individuality. And here today, we're glad to have our man Seth, who's finally made it to the podcast.
Yeah,
who has
he did his homework this time.
yeah.
I'm in summer, so it's good.
Good.
Yeah.
And we're excited to have him here. And if you couldn't tell by introductions, we're all a little bit different, and that's for sure. But
there was no alcohol present in this vicinity.
Yeah, we're sober. We're sober weirdos.
Just like that normally. We think he's dropping his head.
Ian's in another universe right now.
I did a backflip on the way down.
I wasn't dropped. I was thrown across the room. But the topics we're going to be covering today include virtual reality, high school, considering our man Seth just graduated, middle school, moving on, and we're going to talk about music precedents and babies. So
we got the babies.
It's always all over the place.
My name is Seth. I am a 14-year-old, and my quote is, "While it is always best to believe in oneself, a little help from others can be a great blessing." Uncle Iroh, Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes.
Fucking awesome.
Yes.
Wow.
That's fucking awesome. Okay.
Sorry. Mine is
Uncle Ian.
Mine starts off with an older man, walking to his own bedroom. His wife, sitting on the bed, is terrified of him because she thinks somebody's coming to kill him and his family. But in reality, this is what he tells her. He says, "I'm the one that knocks."
What is your name and what is your age?
I'm Ian. I'm 21.
And then proceeds to get a sip of his drink. That went dark real fast. Yeah.
My name's James. I'm 25 years old, and our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time.
Literally me playing pizza.
Sounds like the tail end of Obsession, but doesn't always pay to be original. That's what I was going to say.
What are you going to say if you aren't going to be original, just copy?
Yeah, that was it. See, it was better. Thank you. That's what I actually said, folks.
That's terrible.
T-Bird.
Booger poos.
Damn straight.
Alex, say your quote.
Oh, yeah. My name is Alex. I'm 24. My quote is, "Waka, waka, waka, waka."
Yes.
Pac-Man's a classic. Don't fucking hate.
Oh, that's what he said?
Yeah, waka, 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 waka.
I thought you were doing Fonzie, like the bear. Fozzie, I'm sorry.
Well,
Waka, waka. You know,
yeah.
Waka, waka, hey, hey.
This is Africa.
Well, we're going to start off today with virtual reality for all of our game lovers out there. Reppin' gamer Serenity over here.
Hey,
So
we
we're
just
gonna
got
start
done
off-
playing VR, actually.
Yeah, a little Beat Saber, if
My
you guys know
hand
anything
hurts.
about that. So we're going to start off with Alex here in the first question. So, Alex, what are your current thoughts on virtual reality, especially after experiencing it for yourself?
I think it's very easy to get lost in it and completely be immersed. But at the same time, I do think they should develop like better control over getting motion sickness. Because that's something that I struggle with when I play VR, is getting sick after playing it for more than an hour and a half.
that's a very big crutch because you're not a minority when it comes to that. There's a lot of. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. That's half most human population. They fuck up. They need to fucking solve that.
Right. Yeah, no,
Use your words.
that makes total sense. I agree. Let's move on to Ian. Ian, what are your current thoughts on VR right now?
I think it's awesome. I think it does take some getting used to, with the I don't know, it's like being immersed into like a whole other dimension. It's crazy. I love it. But there's definitely room for improvement. I think if it's gonna if I want to get it to a point where it's like, okay, I feel like I'm in like a completely different reality, I think that's where it's gonna hit. And I think they've started to do stuff like that. Like they've done like zombie VR things like that. But Me and him, we went to this void place here where we live. Yeah, in Vegas, and I guess that's what's impressed me by far is that they kind of do what I'm talking about. They do it by rooms. You go into different rooms and stuff like that, and you have this like chess piece, and you have the headset on, and
What's the chess piece?
You like feel if you get shot.
Yeah, if you get shot or you feel like there's like a Star Wars one, which I know Tara you won't like. So
there's a Jumanji one.
No, I don't like the movies. I love being a Jedi.
Yeah, you're a stormtrooper. You're a stormtrooper in it. But you get to shoot the gun, and then when you get shot, it's like you get shocked.
You're
know?
disposable
so you're like ducking in and out of cover, and you're in all these rooms, bro. It's sick. I mean, it's pretty close, but I definitely want to see where it goes from here.
Okay, when you pictured the movie, is that who you wanted to be? The stormtrooper? No,
I wanted to be freaking. Who would you guys want to be?
Not the fucking stormtrooper.
I don't want to be Luke. I want to be.
He's got the most he's got good ability.
Okay, my point is, no one wants to be the stormtrooper. There's not one fucking person like, oh, those cool powers. Fuck that. I want to get shot at.
Jedi 100%.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna be no damn stormtrooper. They don't even know how to shoot people.
Yeah, no.
They always miss.
Get killed and.
It'd be like Darth Maul. That'd be sick.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
But yeah, Seth, why don't we go on to you, man? What are your current thoughts on VR right now?
I think is really cool because like it turns a dream into reality because like think about it, everything in your life you've always like we have all these realistic things and then there's always this realm of imagination where there's magic, where there's you can defy physics, you can defy gravity, all this stuff, and being able to do that in a world where you're seeing it through your perspective instead of looking through a TV or something, you feel like you're there and it's really cool.
That's awesome, man. Love your eloquency on that. By the way, he's 14. So, what about you, Taro? Give us your opinions.
I don't want to live in a fantasy world, but I think it's very, very cool. It is the immersive part of it. I think it's bet like the very first part of actually being good enough, because if it can just solve the thing with you getting sick, I'm sold. It makes me want to play video games again. But as far as the technology, when it gets to be more natural, like where you don't need a controller and all that kind of jazz, where you can do it like you're really there. Like I've watched the
what do you
Vibe.
want, like a suit?
Yeah, but Vibe has a thing where it watches your fingers, so you don't need
that's
even
definitely
control.
more like intricate than the PlayStation.
Yeah, I mean that's cool little controller. I understand that's what they had to do for the technology, but this is using your fingers. That's next step. I want that. And I don't want a hepatic suit though. I don't want to get shot. I want to just.
That's what you guys were talking about, like with the Kinect. Like you can use the Xbox Kinect and you can use your hands.
Microsoft. What the fuck happened?
We don't know what happened to it.
They're like, oh, that's a cool idea.
It just disappeared. Like
They
nothing happened.
making games for it.
I don't need a games. It's a great interface, dude. I wanted it for like I don't know, like I said, watching movies, you can just do this casual flip. You go to the next thing, then your grandpa wants to use Netflix. You don't have to fucking tell him how to use it.
You just like go
he's like, hey, grandpa, just move it like this. Yeah.
I imagine some old people flailing though, like. Which way do I turn it?
Yeah, there's sometimes you're getting to give people a little bit more direction than that. You're like, somehow you managed to fuck it up. I mean, there's not a lot going on, but you somehow not managed the one thing I told you not to do.
Sometimes I wonder what some people would do if I was not there to be tech support. Like, my mom calls me in all the time and is like, how do you move the screen over? I'm like, you click on it and you drag it over there.
Well, James, what are your thoughts?
I think potential. Every time I look at it, like the fact that we just played Beat Saber, which is a pretty fun game. I mean, it's its own. I just like it. It's like an EDM, Guitar Hero, lightsaber game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You never thought of that combination.
Star Wars means
but it's so simple, but so much fun.
It's so simple, and the graphics are like. They're good enough, but they don't have to be anything spectacular.
No, but when I say potential, I mean just like I see where it was when it first started, and it was lame. Like I'm not even kidding. Like I remember my first VR experience was like this like little roller coaster thing that you're on, and I thought it was cool looking around, going up and down the roller coaster. Yeah, it was novel, but like. You know, obviously I didn't feel myself going up and down, but being able to see everything in the park and on the roller coaster, I mean, the graphics were horrid, but it was conceptual. It was great. I liked it a lot.
It's like a demo.
But then going from that not having any VR experience from that moment because I was just totally turned off by it, and then going to Beat Saber all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I had watched some videos on this Planets of the Apes game and stuff like that, and it still seems novice. It still seemed like, oh, I gotta look, and then I just click something, and then I go to wherever that's at. It still seemed novice. Graphics great, but this Beat Saber just totally opened it up to how much potential it truly has. Like,
That's what I'm saying. That's the step, the hump you have to get over to where it's like it's cool, not like I guess it's
yeah.
cool.
So I just think potential. it's got a lot of potential.
Beat Sabers is like Tetris, and it's an addictive game. It's simple. You get to the point, you're like, and you start going for it. You're like, oh man, I'm getting a little better. And then
Speaking of Tetris, they got a VR Tetris.
I'm biased against Tetris though.
That's not pushing the boundaries. but it's-
Tetris is lame. Moving on to our next question though. Let's start with we'll start with Seth. I feel like Seth, you're young, you got a lot of potential yourself, and I also feel like you have. I don't know if this is wrong to say, guys. Maybe you guys can give your own opinions, but I feel like when we're younger, our imagination is so much more raw, like because we don't have boundaries yet on reality.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I lifted the boundaries in my mind.
Oh, I bet you do. But I feel like Seth is the person I want to ask this first. But Seth, what are your current imaginations towards the future of virtual reality? And I want you to kind of explain. And what I mean by that is just like, where do you see it at its tip of the iceberg, cream of the crop experience for VR?
I was thinking about this question before, and I was like, the first thing I want to think of is like, you go into virtual reality, and you have this whole experience. Like, I want it to feel like you get out of it, and it feels like you had fully experienced it in real life instead of just, oh, you put on a headset. Like, you
So give us an example on what that would be like.
Say you're in your room and you put on the virtual reality headset. You wake up and you're like, you get into it and you're in your room again, and like you start having all these things start happening to you. And say you open a door and it takes you to another world, or you open a cabinet and it gives you like a bunch of weapons, such as a lightsaber, such as like a sword, and then you can just go back into the same spot where you put your headset on. You take it off and you feel like you just relived it all.
Dude, that sounds great.
Either that or SAO Nerve Gear, where you're literally in it.
Yeah, that's why I was going to bring up
Nerve
Sword Art
Gear.
Online, because of the Nerve Gear where they actually have it.
It connects to your brain, and it's basically your consciousness switch from your normal body to a in-game body.
Wow. And it just monitors every synapse, every neural impulse,
Like you have to
and
eat in the
correlates
game.
it to that body. Wait, how do you eat in the game? Because if you're thinking about it, now I don't know. This is just me being weird, but like you're eating in the game, but you ain't getting no sustenance in the real world.
You have to come out of the game at some point to eat.
Yeah.
You starve to death.
Yeah.
Which is why another reason why Sword Art Online is fake, because you get trapped in the game for 6-7 good months.
And they had to put all these people that were stuck in the game on life support because some of them were like dying of malnutrition.
It sounds intense.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was a crazy anime, and then they made too many
made a
different variations of it. Though.
Cool. Well, hey, Ian, let's go on to you, man. Cream of the crop, best experience you see VR getting to.
Just glasses, man. You know how they're making like the Google glasses and you can like kind of like see things? I think you should be able to like
That's augmented reality.
put glasses on and kind of like you were saying, just lay in bed and then just go somewhere else.
That sound effect.
Yeah, I'm like with that complete corny ass sound effect.
So what about you, Terrell? Like, where's your imagination go with VR?
Dude, I'm with Ian, I wanted fucking augmented reality. I like the idea of interacting with virtual objects, what, in a 3D space, like it's a real thing. Like you have a virtual object here, you can do shit with it and all. I love that idea because then it's useful and practical. You're not just playing a game.
You want to be like Tony Stark.
Yo, all the way, 24/7. I'm like, because you sit there, you look like a little bit of a nut job, unless other people had it, but still, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to do something. I'm patching up a cinema, I'm trying to build something here. I just happen to be chilling at Starbucks on my little imaginary workspace when I'm sitting at a desk or whatever, and like, that's what I want to see. It's not so much games. That's the one I want to see, but games, it's gonna get weird. That's why I said that. It's gonna get weird where people are like gonna want to live in there, and you're gonna be like, "Hey, Steven, you haven't come out for like a while, man. Come on, all right, buddy. Get a little pale."
Unplug the cord, he just dies. No.
You turn off electricity. It's like, all right, keep away from the sharp objects.
All right, Alex.
For me, what I picture for the future of VR, I'm not thinking of like something out of a sci-fi movie, and it, like the way I'm thinking about it, I'm just like, what kind of games are they going to develop? Like, what kind of like world am I going to go into? What kind of like adventure am I going to have? And for me, I just want something where I can create a character and I can have all the abilities that I wanted to have ever in any kind of fantasy that I've ever had, like telekinesis, and you can fucking fly or do any of that kind of shit. And I'm like, I just want a good experience.
Is
where
that a game though? A game is more structured. You have a plot and you have all this.
Well, I would play a game that I've played games where you could fly. I played fucking Spider-Man the other day, but that was pretty awesome. But
Yeah,
if you
that'd
could
be
be
cool.
Spider-Man and you could swing through the buildings, I'd fucking be all over that. And it actually felt like you were doing it.
Yeah, I hope I was better at it than I am in the other games. Oh my god, those things are difficult. Just run into the fucking building. I'm like, taking me out of the experience. I forgot Spider-Man needs coordination and all these other things.
Spider-Man has like the coordination of like 10 people combined.
Yeah.
I guess for me, the way I picture the best experience for VR in the future is you go into a room, okay? And you go into a room and you put on your gear, right? And in this room, it's completely wired technologically for you to experience VR. You ever walked into a room and it's just like kind of dark, but when you put the headset on, whatever game you decide to put on, it creates it with that environment.
I could also
right?
make multiplayer games.
Exactly.
Where you can have all the people with the headsets in the same room.
Yep.
Could have opposite teams. You can play like paintball without actually having paintball guns.
Yeah.
And you just feel the pain.
Anything. It'd be like some super multiplayer.
But for me, what I'm thinking more RPG style because
that'd be awesome.
because
Sword
you get to
fight.
walk around, right? But you're obviously limited on the space, so there'd have to be indicators in the room to let you know, right? But then when you get to a boss battle, in every RPG I've ever played in a boss battle, there are boundaries in this boss battle. You know what I mean? So then, you see the barriers, right? And then you're actually having to dodge these attacks. You're actually having to attack. And also there might be a chest where you can choose to be a sword, an archer, a mystic, kind of thing. And you
I
actually
just
have a
imagine,
physical
like,
thing.
A party of people going up against a giant fucking monster.
Could you guys imagine World of Warcraft in that way, though? Like, people
I can
would
see
go
that
nuts.
happening soon, man. Like if you could like just kind of make it so like whenever you walk, the floor kind of like it moves
so,
with you a little bit. You could just keep walking, you never hit the wall.
So I saw
Yeah,
this.
it's not very far off.
I saw this like Instagram video. It was this guy on basically a treadmill, but like he had this thing around.
around his
it's
waist.
an
Around his
Directional
waist
thing.
where he would move, and it would he'd keep being able to move because the treadmill would move him, but he wouldn't be going anywhere because he'd be in this circle, and every
So
time
then
he
you wouldn't even need a room.
it was a small thing. Like he was
I've seen it. Yeah,
Those
that-
things
it was
are
almost like a military
expensive, bro.
training.
Yeah.
It'd be like it was like he was doing a training set
Yeah.
time training.
And I like that for like individual player, but for some reason the room what really I imagine in the room is just the fact that like it feels natural, like
Yeah,
I'm
you're not in the
free
game.
roaming. Or when you have that thing around your waist and you feel because I've seen what you're talking about and how it's like a treadmill, but it's kind of like a half circle, so it keeps moving. You can feel that, and it feels unnatural. And that the thing I like that was brought up in the last question was the motion sickness. And I think the only way to get rid of motion sickness is because our brains know it's not reality to our eyes, and the colors and the vividity and
You're in your ear though too.
and it's all that stuff, right? That alters perception. But if we are able
Move
to
around, yeah.
to create such realism to trick our own brain, not to the sense that we believe it's real, but to where it doesn't affect,
sick.
it doesn't make you sick, right?
The thing
And
that most makes me sick is when it's not in my control.
Yeah.
Like when I play a game and it moves for you, like if the camera moves without you choosing to move it, I get so much more sick from that than if I push on a joystick to make it move. Because I'm in control of the move.
So cool. Let's start with Alex again.
Okay.
So Alex, what virtual reality games are you actually looking forward to?
I just love like the action, like fantasy action games like Zelda, Shadow of the Colossus. I want to fight giant monsters. That's what I want. With a sword, a bow, a shield. I want to shoot cannons. I want to do all that stuff and kill giant monsters. That's the game I really want.
Cool.
And using magic and stuff, casting spells.
Dude, that's one thing that kind of sucks in games is they let you use magic, but it's no more than like a gun. Like the way the physics work, and it's like real magic wouldn't be. I just kind of point. It'd be I could move stuff, I could flame stuff. They could get that figured out. That's what I want.
Yeah.
What if you could make up your own spells? That would be dope.
Throwing spells?
No, you make up your own spells. Like if you say a couple words, and if it has some kind of logic to it, and you could have something happen. That'd be fucking great.
Or like you move your hand.
Yeah, see, anything you could make it to where
Yeah, like it'd make a specific spell.
like you do like a symbol. Kind of. The first thing I thought of when I said that was Infinity Blade. It was a phone game where you'd have these rings and they would allow you to do spells. And what you would do for a specific spell, because you get like an option of 3, you'd write it down and it'd do the spell for you. So there'd be like a circle for heal, lightning bolt for electricity, and then all this stuff. That's what I was thinking. I was like, you would do a lightning bolt and you'd have this lightning spell to just throw.
I imagine some like Avatar: The Last Airbender shit.
That would be-
Like where he's like,
But if you could make it your own
swirling the water
stuff, then
around
you
and
wouldn't have like
Because
a
they
weapon.
also all have their own, like firebenders, waterbenders, earthbender, and airbenders. They all have their own different fighting styles and
Yeah.
how they move.
Yeah, different
Like-
martial arts per.
Like
per style.
a waterbender is a lot flowier.
Yeah,
like
waterbending was more Tai Chi, airbending was more Bagua, earthbending was more like, depending on who it was, Toph used Praying Mantis Kung Fu, and then other earthbenders were different
But if
ones.
you
And then
made,
fire was Tai Chi, sorry. Waterbender, I don't remember which martial art
Well, couldn't
was,
that make it
but-
where you can mix and match,
Of course.
That's what I
honestly,
want
don't
is mix
think-
and matching. I don't like consigned guns. I want something where I could like figure out and do my own thing, and it might work
be
better
the
or
fucking
worse.
Avatar. You can learn all the elements and all the different styles.
That's the game
to
I
use
want,
all of them.
Avatar.
Just say like extendo my tool.
Oh my god.
I already thought about that before that. There always people like it.
But are there any games out that you're looking forward to that may be coming out currently that you know of that you're looking forward to,
I was
Alex?
waiting for all you guys.
Well, because the VR that I have isn't like the best one out there. I mean, like I love my PlayStation VR; it's convenient, but the PC ones just have so many more games. I like playing horror games. I want to get into those. That's
There's a new Walking Dead coming out. There's this
It's already out. I think.
Half-Life. Oh yeah,
Half-Life 3, Half-Life Alex.
yeah.
Those ones look sick. Those ones look like they're getting up there, like pretty
Yeah.
realistic.
I think for me, the one I'm looking forward to is like there's this Phantom Covert Ops coming out, which is from what I'm reading. It's kind of like just covert op missions. You're doing, and it's just like, ooh, there's even for you, Terrell, and freaking Iron Man coming out.
Oh
Man,
yeah,
that just sounds
Didn't
like
you
he's
try
just
that?
sick.
I saw it on YouTube.
I just want more horror games, man. I want
There's a
something.
cinema activity for the Vive. Is that what it's called? It's pretty crazy. Yeah, that's like, cause it's cool because they with that thing you set up cameras in the corners of the room, and like you say, you don't have any control or nothing, so you're just walking around. And
That sounds insane.
yeah,
that would scare
crazy.
the crap out of me.
Yeah, it was freaking insane.
Well, I already get way more scared at like just regular horror games than I do with horror movies. So I'm just like, I want like a VR
Where you
horror
feel
game
your-
experience.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, because that would be the most.
Could you
intense
imagine?
version.
Layers of fear in VR.
Yeah,
Oh
and
my
then
God,
like
yeah.
if you had a suit on, you could feel somebody grabbing you.
Oh
You know what
my
I'm saying?
God.
Like that'd be
Crazy.
You
insane.
like open the door and the door just goes back at like it starts resisting.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
that'd be freaky, dude.
Oh,
Like, trying to open the
I'm
door
getting
and someone's
chills.
like-
I'm getting chills. So, Terrell, let's start with you. What's the perfect VR game look like to you? I think you kind of explained it, but I kind of
Well,
want
like
you
you
to.
said, there's no seams. You get in there, it all makes sense to me. Like you don't have to figure shit out. That would be great, but like I said, it's feel like you guys pointed out, it has to be natural. You don't have to be getting sick and shit. And you put on the headphones, not headphones. You put on the things on your screen. You got controls that make sense. That you control everything.
But what kind of genre of game?
Mine is fucking zombies all the way. I want to slice the fucking thing's head off and not its like foot, toe, nothing else. I want to be able to throw a gun at the thing's fucking head. I want to be able to like butt it with a gun, but able to shoot it too. I want to feel like when I get out of that fucking thing, done.
You want to feel like you're actually in the zombie.
Would you say that the best kind of controller for the VR would be like a glove?
That would be.
That's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Came to me right now.
Just a pair of gloves. Put gloves on, and you could just grab stuff.
Yeah. I even thought about using like a bat too. That's like shooting, and you swing it like a bat.
I do feel like having an actual like physical thing like that feels like a gun would help more though for me.
Yeah.
To make it feel more real.
But I think you'd have to wear the glove too.
Yeah.
So that way whatever you interact that's not with the gun is done too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You just kind of hold it, and then you don't have a bat in your hand, but you freaking swing it.
Yeah, and also like what Tara was talking about, I think before we started this podcast, was talking about how he wants his own hand in the VR game, not this weird detached hand. Like if you wear the glove, it fits to your hand, and the way you'll move, it's gonna show. And then it'll feel more like his hand, you know?
Yeah, I've never liked it because you would see this awesome high def game, and you have fucking like puppet hands, man. It just seemed like out of place. You're like, why the fucking the hands out in the middle of space and shit? I mean, can't you connect it some? I don't know what technology to take to make it look like it was attached to your avatar, but not like fucking jazz hands floating around. I don't want that.
Right.
Cool. Well, hey, what about you, Seth?
The first thing I thought of was Dark Souls. If I could go into the Dark Souls universe, do all that, do all the rings, fight all the bosses, do all that stuff, that would be crazy. And
that's exactly what I was saying. You gotta fight giant monsters with a sword and shield, man.
Great.
I'm trying to think of what another game would be. I'd want to get in the Destiny-verse. That'd be crazy.
That's pretty
Being
cool.
able to, like, I just shoot my hand out and I fire a fireball.
Yeah.
That's
Blast.
I just take a sword, just bam.
Also, like with Destiny, because that takes place in space, less gravity. You're freaking floating around. You can jump and.
That's cool. What about you?
You can't
Ian?
see that, but
I'd go to the Elder Scrolls universe.
I guess that.
Skyrim.
you're gonna ride a dragon, bro. Ride a dragon.
Shake him. Get out of here.
You just hear.
Yeah. That'd be sick. That'd be sick. And then go like, because it'd be cool to see how good they can get like the little details down. Like if you could go down. Because like there's like inns in the game, you go to the inn and like you can like order a drink and then like talk to the people and stuff. Like how much, like even just interacting with other NPCs in virtual reality. I hope they get that like down because that'd be sick.
I wish you could be an NPC on somebody else's game and they wouldn't know it was a real person.
Yeah, you just like act like an NPC and you like and then you scare them or something. That'd be fun.
Or just have some weird dialogue. They're talking to like they expected to say something else. You're like, you know what? I like horses.
What if it was your dog?
Yes. Are you riding the horse or is the horse riding you?
You think that could be like become a job? Like you just like.
That's why I thought
it becomes so evident. Like it becomes so evident. It becomes such a big thing that you can work as you can work as an NPC in games and
make it so much better.
That would really help because if you want to do like Skyrim, that'd make having like personalized conversations way easier because when I'm thinking Skyrim and talking to NPCs like personally, I would just be saying stuff instead of reading a prompt and hoping for an answer from a specific person. If you had a worker working as an NPC, you'd be able to talk to them and they'd have like if you said something along these lines, they'd answer with this. If you said something that fit in this boundary, they'd say this.
I don't even think they need to do that. I think they just would need a general understanding of the game and what your objective is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And other than that, just be themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or put on a character. They could be actors too. Like I'm supposed to be this elvish Northlandic person, and they have that kind of accent and talk that way.
That'd be awesome.
Nice
it's like lead me to Mount Hrothgar. I like swords.
Oh, okay, yeah. You don't want to be, dude. You can't be like.
And if you can make it large scale from what we go right now, which are fun personal experiences, to go into something where, like you said, it really looks like you're playing make believe on a bigger scale with people. That'd be fun. That's good, man.
As Alex takes a sip, we're gonna ask her. Alex, what does the perfect VR game look like to you?
I already told you. Gotta slay giant monsters, man.
Yeah, well, hey, do you have a certain genre?
Shadow
Is there a
Colossus.
certain...
Yeah, I would do Shadow of the Colossus all the way.
Yeah?
You climb the monsters.
I would climb on top of the monster, get on his head, I'm gonna tickle his head a little bit with my sword. That's all you gotta do. Just
You know, weird, but
it's not a gentle tickle.
You know
Riding
what's
on
funny
a
is
horse all the way to
is
there.
you climbing on that. I'm picturing this in virtual reality, so I'm trying to take it out of the universe, okay? And you're in this virtual reality, and you got to climb on this monster, and it has to feel real, right?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine like so much trial and error it's going to take to make sure your safety is in check too. Because if you're climbing on a big freaking monster, okay, and you freaking fall, like this is virtual reality. It's supposed to be real. Like you lose your grip, you're done. Like you're falling off this thing, right?
It'd be kind of traumatic.
You know, and I just think about that. I'm like, wow, like how would they do that? You know what I mean? Are you hooked up to cables? Yeah, harness.
you
know what I mean?
Rolls under you, you have to grab it and stuff.
Is this room ever changing? And like because in the Colossus, you know, you're climbing on something. Is it going to create platforms as you go to get on this thing? And then when you're grabbing it, you're on like cables.
You have something like the rock climbing thing.
Rock climbing thing. You know, it's crazy to think
Except
about.
they would
but,
have to have like
all I think
long
about is
fur
like
or something
before we
grab
get to the
onto.
perfectness of it,
It's
right?
gonna take a while.
People are gonna break their backs. They're gonna break necks. We're gonna have
God
a
of
death
War
toll.
and-
You know what I mean?
God
Bar on
of War
their
in
head.
VR.
Oh,
Sick. Sick.
The only thing I'm thinking about is the Uncharted parts of it, where you're traveling, you're climbing up the mountain with Atreus. That's gonna be crazy.
What?
That's another thing, having like, because in a lot of games you have like a companion, which is like some kind of animal or monster or something.
I think what I'd like in my perfect virtual reality game is character build up, a free roamed universe, and I'd like it to be a sort of level up RPG. And the reason being is because like as I'm going through this game, like when I say character development, I mean, you know, we have our avatars. You need to make them look like you, not like you. You choose your specialty, whether it be magic. They could have so many different categories, right? But I think for me, my perfect VR game would have to be something along the along the I'm not a gun person, but something along the character development with what kind of universe? Do you guys know what I'm trying to talk about? It's like the Skyrim or the Elder Scrolls universe.
Like RPG?
Yeah, it's an RPG, but
It's like an
a fantasy is the word I was looking for.
Fantasy doesn't have.
But also like you have a lot of creative control with it. Meaning as I level up
Like a
and as
sandbox?
Huh?
Like a sandbox RPG?
Something like that. Something like where
you're
not
talking
only-
like a branching skill tree kind of thing.
Yeah, a branching skill tree. Also, like as you level up your weaponry exactly how you'd want to. Like you can create your own weapon. You can, you know, say your class or whatever you choose your specialty to be would be a knight or something that deals with weapons, right? Handheld weapons. You can make that weapon however you want. You can make it an axe. You can make it a sword. Make it a katana. Make it a broadsword. Make it a freaking Buster sword like Final Fantasy. You know, but as you level up, you have that more creative control on how you level up as well. You know what I mean? You get stronger, you get faster, and you feel it in the game. It's kind of like hard to explain, but in my
You want to feel your level.
yeah,
I feel like you would love watching SAO. You'd love that.
Sword Art Online, yeah.
yeah. Well, I watched a little bit of Sword Art Online, and I thought it was pretty awesome. And I would totally be the dual sword wielder. I'm not big on shields. Like I'm big on agility, dodging, and all-out attack.
Me
Like,
too, me
you know,
too, me
too.
my only
Katanas.
blocking is is with the swords. Like
A
that's
parry.
Two swords.
equal size
Pretty soon my
swords.
hands are gonna be registered weapons.
Oh, I've always liked those characters. You know what I mean? Where they're like Tifa, or like
Yeah.
somebody that, or somebody that just has to put like the only way you level up is like the gloves you put on. You know what I mean? Like you got more punching power now, or
If I'm not using a sword, then I'm a mage
Somebody's wings
all the way.
got to
yeah. And imagine like creative control of magic. You know, you have fire, earth, water,
Well, I said
air, and electricity, right? And then you could evolve those things and mix things and then create different colors for your magic and like you know, it's like you just creative
Make my
control of
flames
leveling
blue,
up.
man.
Get crazy.
Blue
man.
flames.
Or black, do some, you know,
I'm about to be
Amaterasu.
Azula.
Oh yeah, Azula.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for our VR category, guys. If you guys got any comments on any of the questions we asked, we'd love to hear it.
Anything.
So anyway, thank you guys for joining us again. We're gonna move on to high school.
Oh,
This is the part where I shut up.
Yeah, no. We're
you get to
There's one question that's just for you.
know.
yep. But you know,
Basically the part where I
our
shut up.
we have our young man with us, Seth, and you know, we chose this topic just to kind of reminisce a little bit, have a little bit of nostalgia, but also I
have
guess
any fucking nostalgia for high school. I will say that straight up.
another
Fucking
perspective.
place sucked.
We're gonna get into that. We all had different high school experiences.
individuality.
Yes, multiple perspectives. Maybe, hopefully, some humor in this.
We are
Some
Misfits.
people may cry.
Not just straight depression. No.
Yeah. We're hoping Terrell keeps it together and doesn't cry. No, I'm just kidding.
Definitely not.
So let's start off with Ian.
Big man.
Give our man,
Right, huh?
give our man Seth some tips and tricks for surviving high school.
I think most important lesson is to balance responsibility with fun. If you learn that early on, then it will do you very good in the long run. Yeah. But when you do have fun, because it's like, okay, you have like not as much responsibility, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, how much do I really need to balance? So when you have fun, make sure you have a lot of fun. You know what I'm saying? Not just like, you know, I don't know. Like you play video games, but you like want to go out there and like freaking experience new stuff all the time, every day. Because I don't know, you'll get to a point in time when you don't really have the freedom to do that anymore. Like to just go out and do stuff. So you should definitely figure it out.
Thanks.
Do you have any, like, are you scared at all?
No, not really.
No?
No,
Yes.
you're not intimidated in the slightest. I certainly fucking was. My middle school experience was trash. And when I was going to high school, I'm like, it's gonna be a whole lot of more dog shit. But it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. People were a little more mature by then.
The people you hang out with in high school, there's a good chance you'll be either, like, you're going to be hanging out with them for a really long time, you know? So just choose carefully.
Cool.
Next.
That'd be good.
Alex, you know, you got any tips and tricks for this young man?
I want to say, like, because from my experience, when I was in middle school, I really tried to just be liked by everybody. Like, I didn't talk about anime or video games or anything that I liked because people would make fun of you. I'm like, I feel like I should have just stuck to what I felt like my personality was and just pushed it and not let anyone, like, not cared if anyone said anything about it. But that's hard to do when you want people to be your friend, you know? So I feel like try to be yourself and not let that part of you, like, kind of get pushed down.
Yeah, and it does, yeah, like she's saying, it gets kind of tough sometimes, you know, because it's a big place, it's a lot of people to meet, and it's like you want to be friends with everybody, but there's just going to be people that, and you've kind of already had kind of had that experience in middle school, it's just a bit on a larger scale now.
Yeah. I don't know.
So what specifically was the advice you wanted to give him?
Be yourself.
Be yourself.
Cool.
Don't let your personality get pushed down because you want people to like you.
I like that. Terrell, man, you got any?
His is the nice high school experience that, like, I see him talk about it, he smiles and shit. Yours is more like mine, where it's just like, you relive it a little bit. You're like, don't let anyone fucking change you. Fuck them all, pick who you want to
Okay,
pick.
my high school experience was kind of like better because I felt like the kids were more mature in high school than they were in middle school, so it was easier for me to just be myself, and people just were so concerned with what they were doing that they didn't care. So it was a little easier to get by. And there was more people that were actually like me in high school than there was in middle school. So in middle school, if you watched anime, people called you a fucking weeb. They called you a nerd. And then they would just laugh at you. If I told people I play video games, they're like, that's fucking weird. Girls don't play games. I got that a couple times. I was like, what? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
What do you think we don't understand? They're like, oh, this isn't like fucking cooking and whatever other women things you do, makeup.
And I was just like, kind of like, if I talk about those things, I'm just going to get made fun of. And so I just pretended that I wasn't into those things because I didn't want to get bullied. But in high school, there was weebs everywhere.
It was the time of anime.
Yeah, I'm like, we had a whole anime club at my high school. There wasn't as many people that played video games, though.
That's cool
We have a
having
gay
that,
straight
though.
alliance class
Class or club?
club. Either.
Don't ever
it's-
say class, dude. That's a whole different story. Okay,
The thing is,
that's
you know how there's,
government
like,
regulated when you get into a class.
you know how there's like student council and stuff? They literally have a classroom for Gay Straight Alliance. Like when I went on my tour of Sloan Canyon, they were like, "This is the Gay Straight Alliance room."
I don't understand. Like, what do they do in that club?
Oh.
That is a great question.
Because I'm like,
Alex.
because I heard Lisa talk about, like, they gave her, like, a class on sensitivity for, like, you know, people who are transgender or, like, gay or any of that
Other.
stuff. That's not what I'm thinking that this is. Like, I have no idea what they actually do in that club.
Alliance makes it so much more like, what would we fucking
You're
form?
fighting a war.
We're
trying to
this thing.
assume-
I don't know.
I'm trying to assume generously about this GSA club. Well, what I'm thinking is, I think it's very hard for people who believe they are a certain way and feel out of place because of it. And to have a place where they feel safe and have a community, which we're humans, we want a community. When you don't have that sense of community, you isolate, and anybody who isolates is in a very dangerous spot. That's where suicide occurs, when we feel loneliness. And that doesn't matter if you're gay or straight at all. Like if you isolate yourself and you're alone and you're in your head, because one other quote is, you cannot solve the problem with the same problem, that's the same thing that created it. So you need something other than your own brain to get yourself out of the problem. But if you're alone, that's all you got. And there's dark places people go. So if you have a community, I think maybe this is just something
To help you get through
to
the
help
hard
people,
part.
get through that kind of stuff. Just so you know, we all love gay people in this room, okay?
Yeah.
Nothing
No
wrong.
Judge.
Nothing wrong if you are any.
There's one in the family. What are you talking about?
There's a lot in the family, especially on my wife's side. That was just for us. I just
Our
wanted to
uncle
make everybody
Shane.
laugh.
That was the first time I ever met his husband.
Yeah,
I didn't know
that's
he was
his name?
married.
and I think we did a great job as making his husband feel accepted.
Well, he
I like
was a
that
nice guy.
Yeah, he was super cool. Love it. Schreist. I can't even pronounce his name.
I can't. I
Schreist.
He's his
Schreist.
husband. I don't know his
Schleif.
fucking name.
I just, when I talk to him, I just look at him so he knows I'm talking to him, because I can't say his name.
Does
and
he
every
have-
time I try,
Why
I
does he
fuck
have
it
like a nickname? Like, all right, I'm gonna.
Well,
fuck.
he's really cool about it though. He knows who you're talking to. He says it took him until he was a teenager to even pronounce his own name correctly. So he's
really?
totally cool with it. Like he's fine, you know.
Really?
He says I pronounced it wrong every single time, and I love language. So when I can't get something, I practice it, and I still fuck it up. Okay. So,
That's great. Now being, let's say you're like, Sharif is my name. What is?
but anyway, Terrell, do you have any tips and tricks for? Do you have any?
I don't want to say Alex's, like, but that's really what I believe you should know yourself. Because high school for me was a fucking nightmare. I was not popular. People fucked with me all the time. I probably hated high school as much as anyone can. I don't want to like shoot the place up, but I didn't have the good laughing experience this asshole had. So I would say you gotta be true to yourself, man.
I wonder who he's talking about.
You.
Yeah, thanks for filling me in, dumbass. High school was like that. Well, actually, for myself, I just didn't give a fuck at a certain point. I just kind of did what I was going to do, and
That's
I-
exactly why I thought high school was easier, because people
I also
gave a
feel
shit
like
less.
in Terrell's time, there was a lot more culture, a lot less culture in high school experience for him. For one, he was in a small town, so there's a lot less culture.
Yeah.
It was either you were in or you were out.
Yeah.
And
what I
not
mean?
only that, but it was a while ago, because he's the oldest out of all of us.
Exactly. But like nowadays, and I think this still happens in smaller communities, but in my mine and Alex's and Ian's and soon to be Seth's high school experience, however you are, wherever
They try to
personality you
accept
have, there is a group of people that you vibe with. Period. You know what I mean? And guess what? That group, like, if anybody, it's not like back in the smaller communities or in Terrell's time where if somebody was picking on Terrell and I'm not okay with it, I don't speak up. Where nowadays, if it gets to an extreme, there is people in every group who have that have that ability to speak up, because guess what? If back in those smaller communities and I wasn't okay with it, but then one person stuck up and then another person stuck up and another person, then all the people who felt like that was wrong, all of us band together now. Where in Terrell's time and in that community, nobody spoke up.
All it
You know what I
takes is
mean?
one person to stand up and say that's not right and actually say something
And
about
most
it.
people will
And all the people that think it's wrong will band behind them. But it still takes that one person.
So always be that one person. That's good advice.
That's
Yeah,
good advice. Yeah.
that should have been.
But
my
Terrell,
focus instead of
I didn't
walk,
hear
walk.
any advice. What was your advice for this?
Mine is
young man?
basically like Alex, just be true to yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds corny, but you know who you are. You like what you like. Just go along with it because you'll be an adult soon enough, and that's all that really fucking matters at the end of the day. They're not going to be there. Whoever you don't like, they're not going to be there. You get to decide your own fate.
Yeah.
But I felt like that when I was in high school. But
Does that scare you? Having to decide your own fate?
you always decide your own fate. You're the only one that does, and the only one that should.
There we go.
Okay, ask the question again, Ian.
Yeah. Are you scared about choosing your own fate? Is that kind of
Intimidating.
It's always- your fate lies in your hands. Like you could.
does it? Just kidding. I'm just. Okay, just answer the first question.
But yeah,
Gloves are coming off right now.
I mean, it's always kind of scary just knowing that you could screw up your life.
Yeah, I still worry about that right now.
Anyways, next question.
No, wait. Okay, James, what's your advice?
Well, my tip and trick for you, Seth, is I don't know. I'm thinking about it, and it might come off as multiple tips and tricks, but I think if I'm looking at my own experience and how I could have made it better, is kind of what I want to communicate to you. Because I wasn't true to myself, right? I had this disease to please others. I wanted to tell everybody what they wanted to hear, and I kind of wanted to fit in with everybody. I was kind of like a chameleon, you know what I mean?
You're
Like
like
I was with this group and I was this way, and I was with this group and I was this way, and I just kind of adapted to my surroundings. And
I did that too.
I think we all do that to a certain extent. But I think the younger you find yourself, the better decisions you'll make, and the happier you'll be. And the reason I say that is because if you know who does Seth want to be, or in my instance, who does James want to be? Well, I want to be a man of God. I want to be a loyal husband. I want to be a great example for my son, my future family, and my friends. And if I want to be that person, I need to make decisions based on those values I have. And what I didn't do is make choices congruent with those values, okay? And that caused a lot of internal conflict. It made me unhappy, and so the true to yourself thing, obviously, you're going to have your own journey with that.
I'll tell you right now, the coolest kids at school are the ones with the best grades.
I don't know
right
about
now.
that
I'll tell you
one.
right now.
If you
I'll
looked
tell
at
you
my
right now.
report card, you wouldn't be able to tell that.
And Alex is pretty cool.
I'm telling you. I just think of I don't know, the people I knew in high school and where they're at now, and I'm like, yeah, I should have done better.
I don't know though, because at the same time I graduated my advanced honors diploma, but I'm a drug addict. You know what I mean? Like I was drinking and smoking every single day after practice.
It's not 100% rule. It's just like in general.
You know what I mean? But like that's just the whole not being true to myself thing. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to do good in school, I wanted to do good in sports, and I wanted to freaking get drunk and high every day after school.
See, that's what's kind of tough about it too. Is like he's saying, you can be doing everything right, and then there's something that can still throw you off. So it's just a matter of.
And I can tell you one thing, man. If I take out the drugs and alcohol, and I was true to myself, pick the right, better friends. Okay, because if they say choose your friends wisely. That is so true. Because if you take your 5 best friends, they make up who you are. Who are my 5 best friends? I had a best friend from church named Manny. I had friends from sports, like Irvin and Irene, and then I had my other friends that I grew up with my entire life, and guess who I was drinking and smoking with them. So I had every aspect of that inside of me, you know what I mean? But that's not who I want to be. At least it's not who I want to be now.
It's just about delayed gratification.
So, we got to choose your friends wisely. We got to be true to yourself. And dude, when you're true to yourself, have fun, man. High school is all about having fun. Like, you're supposed to get good grades. I mean, to tell you the truth, me having an advanced honor diploma didn't do shit for me in the future, okay? Like, I got my first job as a dishwasher because I had good grades. That didn't do shit for me. I mean, unless you plan on going to college, which, hey, that's your own decision, you know what I mean? Then you have to have good grades, but shoot, even then, you can start out community, man. It's a piece of paper, bro. You know, like, I think the best thing I wish I'd have done is just been more involved, you know? Had more fun.
Clubs.
You know, just things you like to do, you know what I mean? Like, you can choose your friends. You can be a good person, make value-based decisions, and have the most fun. And I can tell you, you'll be happier when you make decisions and have fun staying in your values. Like, that's my best advice for that.
In my opinion, I'm having more fun as an adult than I ever had as a kid. Well, not as a kid, but I want to say as a middle school kid, and then as a high schooler.
As a teenager.
Yeah.
And why do you think you're having more fun now?
Because I feel like I don't have to try and impress anybody. I don't have, like, I'm not pressured to perform certain things anymore that I am not good at. And none of the stuff that I learned in high school that I was forced to sit down and pull my hair out over, I don't use any of it.
Yeah. And I also feel like it's an internal conflict, right? Like if you want to do good in school, like the hard part in school, if you're doing it for you, it's worth it no matter what, you know what I mean? But if you don't like school and you don't see a reason for it, in Alex's case, like she knew already, like, it wasn't going to do much for her. However, I remember Alex graduating. She wanted to graduate, right? And I guarantee you don't regret putting in the effort to graduate, right?
Well, I was struggling in the beginning of high school, and then I had to make up for it in my senior year.
But you also had a lot of external factors that you had no control of that played that's too.
True.
That Seth doesn't have to go through.
Yeah,
know? And we don't have to get into that stuff, but you know what I mean? But I'm proud of you, Alex. You know what I mean? And I think you should be proud of yourself too. You know?
I don't even remember, like, my graduation isn't even like that fond of memory for me.
No, it's really not. It's like, I was just having this conversation the other day how, because a lot of kids aren't getting their graduation this year because of this whole coronavirus, and, some people are just like, I don't even care about my graduation, blah, blah, blah. But in the moment, I remember being there getting my diploma. You work for 13 years doing stuff you don't want to do. Like, when I was K through 5th grade, like, I didn't see no use in learning math, writing, arithmetic, reading. I didn't see the use. I was forced to do it. You know what I mean?
Honestly,
and I wanted to perform.
Outside of decimals, fractions, and basic math, I have never used any math higher than that to do anything.
Yeah. But anyway, it's like your own celebration. Like, I worked for this. You know what I mean? And so, like, I kind of think it's sad that people don't get to do that this year. But then you got the people like, most of us are just like, yeah, it's just a day, and now it's like, whatever. But in the moment, man, I worked for that,
I think the best part about it was my family being there, honestly.
Yeah, it's the recognition.
Got to see my dad, because I don't get to see him often.
That's sad.
I know.
It sounds depressing, like all the viewers right now, they're just like, damn.
Well, we saw him at your wedding, so
yeah.
He got a little tub.
Yeah, he got a little chub now. Something we haven't already mentioned.
There's such good things because to me, I think a lot of people, I don't need this and all that kind of bullshit. That I always thought it's exposing you to a lot of things. That's what school does. You may not need algebra, but you don't know what the world holds. You don't know you're not going to need these things. Having such a shitty attitude is the part that always got me.
Oh, I have a shitty attitude.
I don't mean you. I just mean a lot of people like that. They're like, oh, I don't never need it. I'm like, but you don't know what the world's going to offer. If you don't have a problem with it, you can just learn it and maybe do something with it. It teaches you discipline. You're going to have to do shit you don't like in the world, period.
I don't feel like everything you learn in school is pointless. I just feel like above a certain level. Like, I don't need algebra and trigonometry, but I do need basic math. You use multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction all the time.
Arithmetic.
I feel like the higher math things are like a vetting process. Like, all right, let's see who's the next Einstein. Obviously, it's 98% no. You know what I mean?
Honestly,
but we're going to find out.
I think you should cut it off after Algebra 1, because Algebra 1, it teaches you problem solving, which is important. I mean, not everyone needs it, but it is important for developing, like, your skills using your brain. Because I've freaking seen a lot of people, like, in the same workforce as me that are a lot older than me that don't know how to read. And I'm just like, I can't even imagine like
A world without being able to. Right?
Yeah, and I'm like, I've always been able to read for like since like elementary school. I've been able to read well, so I'm like, when I see somebody who's like struggling with these basic things, I'm like, we do need education. So that's a complete given. I'm not saying that you don't need anything you learn in high school. I'm just saying you don't need everything you learn in high school.
I do think people pull their hair out and get over I don't know how to say, they take it too seriously. Like they see it as like I have to do that. I have to. They don't see it as they're being benefited from it. It's like they're trying to live for other people, and they don't realize that you can learn these things. They are good, but you can't live the path that your parents want you to live. You still have to walk it.
I also feel like they don't always take in everything they learn either, because like most of the people are just like, I got the 8 and then I forgot everything.
Oh, I know.
That's how I was.
Period.
I know fucking
how
people
it was
book smart that
finals.
are idiots. That I
But,
talk to them. I'm like, man, you just don't have that going on upstairs.
And I enjoyed learning stuff. Like I enjoyed learning how to do all these things, but I do not enjoy being stressed out. And that's where most of like the negative portion of it comes from. Is because I'm like, I have to do a homework assignment every day and a class assignment, and then I have tests every Friday. I'm like, on top of all these 6 other classes, and I'm like, and it's for stuff that's fucking difficult. Like algebra 2, I'm like, I'm not ever gonna learn how to do polynomials. Like I got an F for that whole
I don't even remember what the
subject.
fuck a polynomial is.
How many terms? Yeah, how many terms? Like
It's a
x to the
multi-dimensional
third,
number.
x to the second, x to the first, and then polynomials by polynomials, and factor them to the point where it's easier to see, and like all this stuff, and then solve them.
I remember that crap.
Gets better, man.
But,
Yeah.
and then I was gonna say for Alex, like stressing out and stuff, like it depends on the teacher that you have.
Yeah.
I do
Because
believe that too.
Last year, I loved math. I thought it was the favorite thing. I wanted to become a math teacher because not only did I have an amazing teacher, but my wrestling coach was the 7th grade math teacher. So it was another 7th grade math teacher since we had 2. And it just made me I enjoyed it. I was good at it. I was having fun. It was something that I could do, and like I felt like I was learning. Now I have a teacher where it's all by the book. The homework assignments, yeah, they're short, but it's continuous. It's something that, like, not only am I doing ELA, science, social studies, and then my electives on top of that, I also have another math assignment. I have EAs that after doing a whole test, she'd just hand this out, be like, oh, here you go, this is due in a week. She'd give us a study guide at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of the unit, but we'd have to fill out that study guide throughout the entire time through each lesson, so that adds another thing on top of it. And then she'd get mad at us when we do bad in the grade, when students would do bad on tests, she'd give us note cards for study guides for math tests, and I wouldn't do them because I don't think that I should be able to have this cheat sheet on a test, because I'm not going to have that in high school. I'm not going to set myself up for failure by
You don't really learn shit either.
Like, I'm not going to have this piece of paper in high school where, I can write everything about the entire unit that we've done all in this one thing, and then hope that I didn't forget anything. I'm gonna have to study all of it on my own.
Yeah, man, I get it.
And I
You're just making it harder on yourself then at that point.
Yeah, well, just take what you can get. I mean, man, to be honest, I could tell you stories about how I had a college physics class at the same time as having a freaking algebra 2 for high school. And, I slept all through algebra except for the tests. And then I would open the test and it'd be an open book test. And I had to teach myself how to learn from this book so I'd pass the test. And it would work. You know what I mean? But just take what you can get. I mean, if they're making it easier for you, let them make it easy for you, man. Like we said, unless you plan on being a professor or a math teacher, which maybe you do, but if you're not, just get through it, man.
If you want to, where it really comes into play is college, when you really sit down and the stuff that you sit there and you learn, you're going to be using for whatever you want to do if you go to college. That's where
there's also stuff one thing that I think is underutilized is having 2 teachers in the same class. Because when I had to retake algebra, because I had to take algebra twice, and the second time around we had a class that had 2 teachers. So they would go around, they would teach us the lesson, we'd take notes and all that stuff, and then they would go around and help us start working on a class assignment. They would come to your desk and explain to you singular like just you, and they would go around. Both of them would go around the class and just help everybody. And I did so much better in that class than the bitch teacher that I had the first time I took algebra, who was just like, take notes, do the homework based on the notes. That was her teaching style.
To me, that seems like, I hate to say this, seems like they're phoning it in. Like any idiot can read a book.
It's apathy. That's what it is. Like
They turn it into they try to make shortcuts so that the job becomes as easy as possible.
But the thing is like these teachers are also graded, and they're graded by how their students perform. And I think there becomes a level of apathy that I think is just so unnecessary. Like
the way Alex explained it, so like it's like a fucking like when you're in the military, you have to get drilled. Like it's not teaching somebody; it teaches you pass the fucking test. You don't know the shit because they don't really take the time to teach it to you.
Right.
And when I was in my senior year, I had 3 math classes, and my Algebra 2 teacher, I used to stay after school every single day to have him help me, and I still was getting a D. So I took tutoring, I was getting help from the teacher, I was retaking tests that I had failed, and I still had a D. So
But you passed.
yeah.
High five for that.
I got my fucking diploma, but
That's what
I
matters.
literally spent nights crying because I could not get my homework done. And it's not like Lisa could help me. It's not like any of my parents knew how to do any of that. I would ask them. They said, I've never seen that before. I'm like, there's no one I can ask. There's no one that could help me. I look at YouTube tutorials on how to do math. And like, I'm literally spending all my time at home working on math because it's the only thing that I can do to get it done, to get me passed.
Ian, you got anything for Seth to avoid during high school?
Avoid getting comfortable.
How so?
I think one thing in high school you need to do the most is you need to reach out of your comfort zone often.
I honestly think you should
Figure out
do
what you
that all through life.
Figure out what you like, what you don't like. You know, try different clubs that you thought you would never try in your life. You know, because on the off chance that you might like something, I mean, it's just cool to kind of. It'll help you build your character and your personality and the kind of things that you'll want to do later in your life. You know, whether it's like crafting stuff or, I don't know, leading people like student council or stuff like that, and I don't know, debate team. You know, just weird stuff like that. You know, you never do. You know.
I agree with that because when I was in high school, I didn't do anything. Like I wasn't in any clubs. I didn't go to any of the dances. I didn't even go to prom. Nothing like that. So I pretty much like missed out on all the high schooly stuff that people look forward to.
Yeah, that's
I didn't do any of that
That's
stuff.
why I think
Because I was stuck doing math.
Yeah, that's why I think just having fun just is so important in high school. You know, because you're gonna look back when you graduate, like for me 7 years ago, and it's just gonna be like, you're just gonna be like, there's like I was just going through this YouTube video that one of my friends who was in the student council made of all the pictures that were ever taken throughout our 4 years of high school. She graduated with me, right? And I was in two pictures in that entire hour reel of that, and it helped me realize that like I was so uninvolved and I could have done so much more.
You know
what
the
I mean?
one picture I was in the yearbook was the group picture where the entire school was in the fucking picture and you couldn't even barely see anybody, and you were like having to pick yourself
Yeah,
out.
you're like, there's me.
Yeah, and there was someone taller than me that was kind of eclipsing me a little bit, so I'm just like, I wasn't in the yearbook except for my one picture that I took on picture day that shows our class.
The only reason I have a picture in the yearbook is because of Mom sending in a picture because I was there for picture day.
Yeah.
It's funny because all the other kids have like this official like Pinecrest
shirts. I
and it's just a
literally
picture.
am on my couch with a tank top and a hoodie on, or and a hat on backwards.
And
That's
the best
sick,
part-
though.
the
That
best
is
part
so
is
cool.
that
I'm the
everyone's gonna
first
remember-
person.
Yeah, everyone's gonna remember because he's the first person that pulls up on the freaking.
I kind of think of teachers as another form of parenthood. You know what I mean? Like they have all these kids, and honestly, the development of children is in their hands as an academic way. You know, and so how many parents out there are so strict and hard on their kids, but at the same time they love them to death? You know what I mean? Like
When you think about it, kids spend like 7 hours a day at school.
Well, Mom would get home at 5. I'd go to bed at 9. So I'd have 4 hours.
so you had 4 hours with your mom, 7 hours with other people. Yep. Who do you think the lead influence in your life was? Probably wasn't your mom. No, I'm just being real. You know. So you have any tips to avoid?
I don't know, because like I'm a square. I didn't do anything bad. I didn't hang out with any of the kids that did drugs. Like, people would invite me to parties. I didn't go. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything bad ever in high school. In middle school, that was different. But like, I used to ditch school, and I punched the crap out of some kid because he was a bully, and I wasn't having any of it anymore. And
I'd hope that was why. Like, I'm not just beating random children.
no,
I'm violent.
It wasn't just one kid. But
oh my gosh. My thing to avoid, just before we ask the question that we have centered for you, Seth, but the thing to avoid, I want you to avoid shame as much as possible in high school. What do I mean by that? The difference between shame and guilt is when you make a mistake, shame says you're bad and guilt says what I did was bad. Okay? I want you to be okay with making mistakes. I want you to be okay with failing. You know, maybe not your grades, but like making mistakes socially with friends, making mistakes with your parents, with your brother, with your academics. Like, it's okay. We have this perfect society, or this mind that we have to be a certain way, but it's still not true.
That was the quote I wanted to say that I couldn't remember. It was a quote from Black Clover. It is okay to be weak, but it's not okay to remain weak.
Yep. It's your choice. You know what I mean? Like,
as long as you strive to improve.
But that's what they say. So guilt is okay because guilt can motivate you.
I thought you were gonna say, I want to be the Wizard King.
I do want to be the
What is it?
Wizard
How to
King.
say Mahoney test? But anyway, so yeah, just be okay with failing, man. Don't have shame. You know what I mean? You're not bad. You're never bad. We just make bad choices sometimes, or make mistakes. Who cares? You know what I mean? Move forward, move on. You know, there's a book I just read called Failing Forward. You know what I mean?
Ian has a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, and I really want to read it.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Cool.
I really want to read it.
Yeah, dude. That's another thing, too, for tips and tricks, dude. Read self-help books early. Like, I know that sounds cliche, and I know a lot of people have their own opinions on self-help books, but I can guarantee you your personal development and your efforts towards your personal improvement will make you tremendously better. It's just so
Just
great.
read in general, man, all the time.
Oh, yeah.
When me and Ian were moving, he had a drawer full of books, and like half of them were Bibles, half of them were self-help books.
There's a Game of Thrones reference I have to make right now. Tyrion said to Jon Snow, because Jon Snow was like, "Why do you read so much? My strength is with my mind, and your mind needs a book like a sword needs a whetstone to sharpen it."
Nice. So Seth, last question. We kind of cater to you so you could end us off on this topic here. But what are you looking forward to? And like, what's your visions for high school?
Freedom.
How so?
Sound like you're gonna slay.
I know. Fucking middle school and chains.
To be free, break free from these chains.
Because I feel like in middle school and in elementary school, there's all these boundaries. You're expected to be these types of kids. You're expected to be, be like one of the academic kids. Be like one of the kids in honors class. Be in NJHS. Be in this. Be in that. Like, when you hit high school, you get all this freedom. They're like,
You can make choices.
yeah. It's not like, oh, you have this example that you have to reach. It's more of, you can be who you want. You can join your clubs. You can do what sport you want. You can be in this clique. You can do whatever you want. And I really just want to see what I become. See how I end up in life.
Yeah.
Nice.
Find out who you are.
So thank you guys for listening to us. Like I said before, if you guys have any comments on any of the topics that we covered, which we love how dynamic our sessions are. But yeah, just give us anything you got for us in the comments below. We'd love to hear it, and positive, negative, or just your own perspectives on things. I mean, that's what we're all about. And yeah, so like I said, we represent a sense of individuality with some witty humor, and give our perspectives on the topics that we got for you this week. So thank you guys for listening. This is James, Alex, Terrell, Seth, Ian signing out.
Peace.
Yeah.